So what will they do? Is there anything left of the Supreme Court as an independent branch of government? Or do they, like Republicans in Congress, simply take their orders from Donald Trump? We're going to get the answer to that soon enough. Today is Wednesday. It is the day after the election, where Republicans got their asses handed to them because of Donald Trump. And importantly, the tariff case was just argued at the Supreme Court. So they now have the case. They have all the briefing. The lower court said what they said. They said it was unconstitutional, Donald Trump unilaterally imposing these tariffs. The justices have now heard the arguments from the lawyers, and now they will make their decision. What will they do? Now, the answer to that question, I think, will tell us definitively. Well, if it goes in one way, it'll tell us definitively that the Supreme Court is now an independent branch of government in name only, and that they have become completely subservient to this authoritarian wannabe dictator. Because the case on the merits is not a close call. I know of what I speak. For those of you who are new to this channel, I am a lawyer, have prosecutor. I've dealt a lot with constitutional law issues. It is my primary legal interest at this point in my career, constitutional issues. And so I listen to the arguments. I know this issue very well, and it's not a close call. It really, truly is not. It is Donald Trump imposing these tariffs unilaterally as he did is flagrantly unconstitutional. What they are claiming, what the Trump administration is claiming, is that in one particular prior statute passed by Congress, they gave the president, not this Congress, this is going decades in the past, but it's still on the books. Congress gave the president authority if the president declares an emergency, that there are certain authorities that he then has the power to exercise unilaterally. And Trump and his lawyers are claiming that the imposition of tariffs is one of those authorities that he is granted pursuant to this statute. Now, the statute doesn't say anything about tariffs. And without a statute specifically giving the president the authority to, on his own, impose tariffs, without that, then he clearly has none, because the Constitution gives that authority only to Congress. So the question here, the legal question before the court, is whether or not this statute passed by Congress authorizes the president to impose these tariffs. And it clearly doesn't. That being said, however, as is usually the case with statutes passed by Congress, there is enough ambiguity in the wording of the statute, and really there's not enough ambiguity for reasonable people to think that they gave away their power to impose tariffs and just gave that over to the president to use willy-nilly as he sees fit. But there is ambiguity in the statute, and if the court wants to arrive at the conclusion that the president does have this authority, well, then they certainly can play word games to justify their arriving at that conclusion, right? And they have done this many times. And this particular court, has made clear that they really don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about what statutes actually say. They don't really care about precedent. Now, they pay lip service to all those things. They They pretend that they do. But if they want to rule in a certain way, for example, in the immunity decision, if they want to rule in a certain way, they are not going to let the Constitution or statutes or precedent tie their hands. They will arrive at whatever decision they want to, and then they will just come up with a way to justify it. So even though Trump's tariffs are flagrantly unconstitutional, there really is, I haven't seen a single legal scholar of any standing who is taken seriously by anyone. I'm sure there's some hacks that they parade on Fox News, but other than that, there is no serious legal scholar. And you don't even have to be a legal scholar. The issue here is so simple. But no serious person thinks that this is constitutional. So what will the Supreme Court do? There's only one correct outcome here, and that is to strike down these tariffs, to say that the president didn't have the authority. But if, and this is why I say we will know definitively if they rule in a certain way whether or not this court is still maintains to some degree independence and is a serious independent branch of government or not, or whether they are just controlled completely by Donald Trump. Because if they rule in Trump's favor, then we have our answer. There is, as I said, no serious person thinks that these are legal. So if they say that they are, then we have our answer. They're not really a court anymore. They're just another arm of the Trump White House. And that's important going forward, because we now know if they rule in his favor on this, where the right result is so obvious, then there really is nothing. There really is absolutely nothing that they will not, there is no issue that may come before them where they will not rule in Trump's favor. Doesn't matter how egregious Donald Trump's violations or crimes or whatever it is that might come before them. We will know that they will never, when it's important, rule against him. And a lot of people already believe that that's the case. But I think this will tell us definitively.